at the start of our story, long before the coming of Christ in his glory. There were many wise people, prophets of old, who had messages from God, some told, some untold. These people, the prophets, had a whole lot to say about the coming of Jesus, about his birth, Christmas Day. A young girl, so meek and mild, was chosen by God to give birth to a child. The air was still, the stars were bright, the world was at peace on that holy night. Joseph standing by, they wrapped him in a blanket so he'd be warm and wouldn't cry. They put him in a manger, the cow's eating place, and the love that they felt shone on each happy face. The trees were all resting their heads in their hands in the still of the evening throughout all the lands. Then all of a sudden, without any warning, the sky was ablaze, just like it was morning. there were angels, lots of angels. There were angels all round, in bunches and clusters in the air, on the ground. They sang out the news of this glorious event. They told of Christ's birth with great joy, and then went. Their voices rang out over all of the earth to spread to God's people the news of his birth. The shepherds who watched their flocks on that night were astonished, overwhelmed, and they quivered with fright. When the angels first came to tell them the news, they stumbled and fell and shook in their shoes. But the angels said, "Shepherds, do not be afraid. We bring you good news of the birth of a babe. Go see for yourselves. His home is a stable. You'll find him asleep in a manger, his cradle." While the shepherds adored the babe in the manger, far out in the desert were 3 kings in danger. They followed a star which would lead to the place where lay the new king of the whole human race. With animals and birds of one kind or another. Here are the angels, kings, shepherds, and sheep. Stars and trees stand in silence while the baby's asleep. From the prophets of old to all here in the pews, this is the gospel, this child, God's good news. Thank you for making the service a treat. Our pageant is over, our story complete. Please join us in standing as you are able for our final hymn, the first verse of Joy to the World.